Hey everybody, and welcome to my latest video live stream. I'm Jessica Dwyer, and I'm here to talk about the Oscars this year. It starts in like an hour and a half. Seems like it's earlier. Anyway, so the Oscars has a lot of controversy again, most of which is due to a piece, I believe it was in the Hollywood Reporter, that anonymous Oscar voters gave the reasons of why they're picking who they're picking. And oh boy, was that interesting. It's good to know that one of the most prestigious awards in Hollywood is picked by a bunch of people that have vendettas and agendas, and which we kind of knew. But like the reasoning behind their picks is, oh, I lived in Hollywood in the 60s. So boy, I love seeing that be represented again. And people that are just butthurt that they're no longer big and they're jealous of the actors and creators and artists that are being nominated now. So that's going on. We have that to look forward to tonight. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my picks for the main awards this year. The who I think are going to win, even if they may not be the most deserving film. My kind of movies never get really nominated, so that's why I'm kind of amazed that Joker's up there. Do I think it's going to get anything? I don't know. I think Joker's going to be the victim of politics at the Oscars, and so we'll see. I kind of find it amusing that um, Martin Scorsese, the guy who slammed Marvel comic book movies, had so much to do with the Joker because he basically produced it and mentored the director. And now the movie's up for all of these Oscars. And then you have Margot Robbie, who's now in Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, with the longest title God ever made. By the way, that movie is fantastic, and I'll have a review for that later, possibly tonight, most likely tomorrow. I wanted to do this Oscar video though for you guys. She's up for an award too, and then you have Taika Waititi, who's up for Jojo Rabbit, who is the guy directing the new Thor, directed the last Thor, and was a character in Thor. So there's like representation. Oh, yeah, Knives Out, Chris Evans, Captain America. Um, Representation of all these comic book movies. I'm sure Martin Scorsese is very thrilled. Very, very thrilled. So, by the way, if you guys have questions or anything, feel free to chat. There's a live chat on my screen. It's over here. I don't know where it is on yours. But feel free to ask questions. Feel free to comment. Love hearing from you guys. I love it when you join in. It's a lot of fun. So let's talk. Let's talk with the big one. And I have the website pulled up in front of me because I want to make sure I've not missed any of these categories. So let's talk the big picture, Best Picture Oscar. Now, the thing that I find amusing and interesting here, and that's pissed a lot of your regular studios off, is that Netflix has sort of taken hold of all of the categories this year. It's really interesting to see this. It's interesting to see streaming really come into its own, and we know that it's been taking business away from theaters. And a lot of people, theater chains, studios are really pissed off about this. And Uncut Gems, which is the Adam Sandler vehicle, which he did not get nominated for, which is interesting in its own itself. And he did win the Spirit Award for his role in that film. That was on Netflix prior to it getting the wide release that it did. And it's interesting to see this this change in Hollywood happening while we're watching it. Streaming, paid services are really becoming a big deal. We knew it was, but this Oscars is really evidence of that, because two of the Best Picture nominees are specifically from Netflix, which I'm sure Hollywood's thrilled. I'm sure you're going to hear all about it. But so the nominees for Best Picture, you've got Ford versus Ferrari, which has Christian Bale and Matt Damon in it. The Irishman, which is the Netflix film that's like 100 million hours long with De Niro and Joe Pesci and Al Pacino, and they de-aged them, and it's weird. You've got Jojo Rabbit, which is Taika Waititi's entry, which is the dark Nazi war Germany comedy. You've got The Joker, which is a dark, dark comedy. You have Little Women, which is like the third or fourth version of that's been made. Marriage Story, which is another Netflix entry, the other one that's up for out of 2 spots. Netflix took 2 spots. You've got 1979, which looks just crazy, probably going to win. You've got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is the movie I love that's on this list. And then you have Parasite. Now, what's interesting about Parasite, it's pretty much a lock for best foreign film. It's up for Best Picture, and you can talk to Guillermo del Toro about how it is for a foreign film to be up for both of those, for Best Foreign Picture and then Best Picture. Now, here's the thing. Hey, Zinni. Here's the thing. You've got a massive push in Hollywood right now for PC culture. It's happening. It's all over. And there's been a lot of people pushing for Parasite to get this award. Will that happen? It could. I doubt it. I don't think that they're ready for that. I don't know that that's going to happen, especially with what was said within those anonymous records from the voters. They really have an agenda. They don't care about the fact that Parasite is apparently is probably the best movie of the year, according to many people. So for Best Picture, I don't think it's going to be Ford versus Ferrari. You just kick that out. The Irishman and Marriage Story. Honestly, I don't think there's a way in hell the Oscars are going to give Best Picture to a Netflix film. I don't care how many pedigreed actors are in it. I don't think it's going to happen. Jojo Rabbit, not going to happen. It's a comedy, even if it does have like very, very, very strong, dark, adult, serious themes in it. A lot. I don't think it's going to happen. The Joker is not going to get Best Picture. They won't give it to it. Little Women, not going to happen. The reason for that, I think, is the fact that how do you give now? This weird stuff has happened before in the past with the Oscars, but with Little Women, how do you give Best Film to a movie that they couldn't nominate the director? There's a lot of BS with that going on. A lot of people are pissed off, like asking, did they think Little Women directed itself? Greta Gerwig just cannot catch a break in that regard. So Little Women is not going to get it. So that leaves 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a great effing movie. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's a love letter to Hollywood. I love the movie. I love the soundtrack. I love the acting. I love everything about that movie. It won't win. And the reason is it's a Tarantino film. I would be in awe if that movie won. So I'm going to go, as Zinni is saying, is 1917. I think 1917 is going to win it, and it deserves it too. I mean, there's some hard fought battles here. I'd love for Joker to win. Honestly, I think it's a fantastic freaking movie. That or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because I'm a violent lunatic. But I don't think it's going to happen, because Joker just is too much of a hot button movie for a lot of people. Think it'll piss off a lot of people. But, I as I said, I don't think it's going to win. 1917, though, is a staggeringly amazing visual. It just hits all the markers. It's a historical epic. It has inventive and amazing cinematography, even though I don't think it was I don't think it was nominated for that. I don't even know if it was nominated for editing. I'll have to look that up because one of those it should have been nominated for and it wasn't. I don't think Parasite will get it. I think that they're going to give it best foreign film, but I just don't think it will make it. I think there's too much of a I think it's just too much of a, you know, if you read some of those the things that were said in those with those voters, it's just got too much going against it. I think they're going to go with 1917. It could though, just as an FU to convention, they might give it to Parasite. So it's going to be one of those two. I would love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to get it though. I love that movie. I love just how Tarantino recreated LA at that time, but I don't think it's going to happen. So let's talk actor in a leading role. Here again, you've got two major. You got another major category where two of the categories are taken by streaming. You've got the two popes, and then with Jonathan Pryce being nominated, which, what the hell, man? Anthony Hopkins did not get no love. Did not he didn't, did he? Oh wait, no, he got support. It's interesting. He got a supporting nomination in this. And I'm trying to figure out how you split the two because they're both the lead. It's two popes. Anyway, so Jonathan Pryce is nominated. I don't think he's going to get it for two popes. Adam Driver is nominated for Marriage Story. There's your other streaming. Antonio Banderas is nominated for Pain and Glory. Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Joaquin Phoenix as Joker. I think it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix. And the reason for that is he just earned it. He earned it with that role. He is effing amazing in Joker. He lived it. He turned into it. And it'll be interesting if he does win, what he has to say about Heath Ledger, because he's already mentioned him in a previous Best Actor acceptance speech. But this would be pretty fantastic for him to win and for that to happen. God damn, he's good in Joker. Leonardo DiCaprio is not going to get it for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, even though he was fantastic in that movie. He just won't get it. It's too much. I guess it's too much of a comedy. I mean, it was even, I think, nominated. The film was a comedy in the comedy category for the Golden Globes, I think. Adam Driver is an amazing actor, but again, I think they're going to make they're not going to give it to him for this movie. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix. Poor Antonio Banderas. If he gets that, he's like the darkest horse in this game. Just saying. Actress in a leading role. We've got Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, which was a great film. Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story. Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. Renee Zellweger for Judy, and Charlize Theron for Bombshell. Now, Charlize Theron is basically, again, unrecognizable in Bombshell. She morphed again. She's like the female Gary Oldman when it comes to morphing into these characters and just turning herself into whatever the hell she wants to be. But in this group, I'm going to go... I don't think they're going to give it to Little Women. I don't think they're going to give it to Marriage Story. I think it's going to go to Renee Zellweger because she really, really, really turned herself into Judy Garland to the just the fact that she is her. Yeah, I'm going with Renee Zellweger on this one. We'll see if I'm wrong. I don't think Bombshell's going to get it. I think it's an HBO movie too. I thought, was that an HBO movie? Maybe not. But Judy, she really became her, and it's another. It's one of those things like with the Oscars. Sorry, it's allergy season here. With the Oscars, especially in the category like this, with a role like this, they tend to go with old Hollywood. Even though I haven't said anything about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood winning anything, that's a fantasy Hollywood. It's that, as I said in my review way back. That's a fairy tale version of Hollywood. That is not going to get. It's not going to happen. Um, but Judy was a celebration of old Hollywood, and Renee Zellweger became her. And it's one of those stories of whatever happened to Renee Zellweger. Here she is again, and my God, look what she did. So I think that's going to happen with Judy. I think it's going to be Renee Zellweger for Best Actress in a Leading Role. Could be wrong. They could try to do the, they did this one year where they kind of distributed the wealth, and a lot of people weren't happy with that because it screwed over some very deserving people and categories. But I'm thinking Judy's going to get it. So Renee Zellweger for that. Now, here's where it gets meaty. Actor in a supporting role. This is some knockdown, drag out crap right here. This is going to be an interesting fight. A lot of people are thinking Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I would love for him to win it because he was just great in that movie. Again, though, I think it has too much against it, where you've got it's a Tarantino film. It's got a lot of controversy, especially with how they showed Bruce Lee in it, which I thought was hilarious, but people were butthurt. It's Brad, but he basically was playing Brad Pitt. That's why I'm like, I don't know if he's going to get it. I know a lot of people want to just see him there. They're giving him the award, so he'll show up. They'll, at least nominating him just so we can say Brad Pitt's here. But you've got a lot of heavy hitters in this category, which is interesting because these are lead dudes. These are lead dudes. It's interesting to me that in actor in a leading role, you didn't get Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro didn't get nominated. They got Antonio Banderas up there, but not Robert De Niro. Weird. So an actor in a supporting role, kind of, I guess, to make up for snubbing De Niro, they gave it to, you got Al Pacino in this category. You got Joe Pesci. You got Sir Anthony Hopkins, who looks like his character in The Two Popes. He looks like that Pope. And then you have Tom Hanks, who turned himself into Mr. Rogers. So this is a knockdown, drag out. I mean, this could go anyway. I would say, though, as I said, you've got 3 roles here that are not typical Hollywood studio fare. You've got 2 streaming, and you've got 1 that's an HBO flick. Pretty sure Two Popes was an HBO movie. But I can't see them giving it to Brad Pitt. I just can't. Mainly because of the role. I mean, he was great in the movie. I loved him. I'd love to see him win it, but I just don't think he'll get it. I'm thinking, honestly, it might be Tom Hanks again getting an Oscar here. And just because that movie is something we kind of need right now. We needed that Mr. Rogers. And also he was Mr. Rogers. So I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Tom Hanks. I want Brad Pitt to get it. I think he was fantastic. I just don't see him winning it. I don't see them giving it to him. I could be wrong. Maybe that's their mea culpa is giving it to Brad Pitt. Instead of giving the movie Best Picture or anything like that, maybe they will give it. They'll give it to Brad Pitt. Honestly, though, who knows? I mean, this one's it could go any way, but I just don't think they'll give it to any of the streamers. I just don't see it. So I'm 50-50. Tom Hanks or Brad Pitt. I could be completely wrong. We'll see how well I pick later. It would be an upset, I agree, but we'll see how that goes. Actress in a supporting role. You have Kathy Bates and Richard Jewell, Laura Dern in A Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, Margot Robbie in Bombshell, and Florence Pugh in Little Women. This category could go either way. I honestly don't see Scarlett Johansson getting it. They might give it to her for Jojo Rabbit just to kind of spread the wealth, because Jojo Rabbit is getting huge news and reviews, and people love it. I don't see Bombshell giving anything to Margot Robbie. I don't see it happening. Laura Dern is a good contender for a Marriage Story, but again, I see them having a bias against streaming. Kathy Bates and Richard Jewell, a lot of people are pissed off about that movie. And in Hollywood, I don't see them giving that to her specifically because of the bias they have against it being such a, a celebration of the right wing politics kind of a thing. I told you this is going to play into it. We've already, if you've read the things, you've seen the things, that's part of it. Florence Pugh for Little Women, I don't see it happening. I honestly don't see them giving anything to Little Women at this point. So I'm going to go with Laura Dern. Maybe it's a toss up. It's going to be between Laura Dern and Scarlett Johansson. I think, honestly, I think that's going to be who's battling out in this one. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got animated feature film. There's no contest. That's going to Toy Story 4. Just give it to it right now. Doesn't matter. Cinematography, 1917 did get nominated here. So did The Lighthouse. If you've not seen The Lighthouse, holy shit, is it pretty. And it's all black and white. It's beautifully shot. The Joker has beautiful, this is going to be one of the hardest categories to pick. I think 1917 will get it, even though it should have got editing, but it got cinematography instead. But man, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is beautifully shot. Lighthouse is beautifully shot. Joker's beautifully shot. It's a shame. But I think it's going to go to 1917 simply because I think they screwed it out of editing. Let me check here. I have to see. Yeah, they didn't give it. That movie is all about the editing. They didn't. Oh my God. Okay, so I think it's going to be 1917 as, oh, sorry, we screwed you out of the editing chair. Honestly, in this category, I would say Once Upon a Time should have gotten it. I think they're going to give it to 1917. Lighthouse, though, is gorgeous, and definitely go get that movie and watch it. Costume design, no one really cares. Directing. So here we go. I'm not even going to bother with naming off any of the best foreign film, because I can almost guarantee you Parasite is getting that. It's going to get it. But in regards to, we'll do the last couple here. For directing, man, I would love for Tarantino to get it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is amazing. It's an amazing film. He did so much good stuff with it. This is a knockdown, drag out one again. I don't think Scorsese's going to get it for The Irishman. I don't think they'll do it. Maybe they will, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think here they're gonna play it safe, and it'll either be Sam Mendes or Quentin Tarantino. They may give it to Bong Joon-ho just because they feel bad that they're probably not giving him the best film. So it could be anybody's guess. What I would like to see get it, I would like to see Quentin Tarantino get it, because I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a lot. So documentaries, but editing, I'm really, really amazed that that 1917 isn't up for this. It's very sad. This could go editing. I loved how the Joker looked. I love how they did it. It was really well done. Here, I think it's probably going to be Parasite. They may, The Irishman really didn't have that much cut because it's very, very long. But I think that I love Joker. I want to see Joker at least get something. If they screw him on best actor, at least give it editing, because it was really well done and beautifully done. So with that, I think uh, what's interesting here before I stop, original song is going to be really, really interesting because you've got 2 Disney movies up for this. Are they gonna give it to Randy Newman again? God, I hope not. Um, Frozen 2 has a song up for Into the Unknown, but then you've got Rocket Man. So, I'm thinking Rocket Man, with I'm Gonna Love Me Again is probably gonna win. I think that's gonna get best song. It's interesting though, I've never seen, like, I don't remember if I've seen 2 Disney movies go blow to blow, especially those 2. Um, so yeah, those are my picks. It's a little bit everywhere. Not not necessarily, Zenny. Not necessarily there, buddy, because Best Picture never gets that doesn't count anymore. They've broken that rule. They broke that rule a long time ago in the debacle that was Shakespeare in Love. And so, yeah, Shakespeare in Love took Best Picture because Harvey Weinstein paid for it. And Steven Spielberg got Best Director for Saving Private Ryan, which should have got Best Film too. And it was a travesty. It was a flat out travesty. But so that ever since then, it doesn't matter. Getting Best Director does not mean you're going to get Best Picture. Doesn't. I can't remember if I don't did Guillermo get Best Director for Shape of Water? Can't remember. I have to go look that back up. I can't believe I forgot. From $1,000 pool winner. uh, but but we'll see how it goes. Tonight's going to be an interesting breakdown. Oh, we did good. That's what I thought he did. But again, it doesn't guarantee that that's going to happen. It doesn't. It doesn't. But we'll see how it goes. I think they're going to split the wealth again. I think they're going to try and really. It's going to be interesting because they do have a lot of bad press happening thanks to this write up. Because it truly sucks that people that the people that aren't, even the People's Choice Awards, no one listens to that because you've had shows like, for the example, People's Choice Awards. I don't think anybody else remembers this exists but me. But I had a show I loved called Moonlight. Moonlight was a fantastic series. It won Best New Drama, and it was canceled the same year. It's the same thing that happened to the Ben Stiller show. Remember that? Won Best New Comedy. It got canceled that same year. I think it won an Emmy. And it got canceled first season out. Boom, done. Bye. Ben Stiller. And that had like Janine Garofalo on it and a bunch of people. But even the People's Choice Awards, nobody gives 2 shits about because they still do things like that. But then you have the Oscars, and the Oscars are supposed to show what we love. It's supposed to celebrate good cinema. And we found out that basically, if you've got a bone, like a grudge, for somebody, they don't give 2 craps. They don't even watch them. They even watch half these movies. They'll just be like, and they go through it. So that's nice to know. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting night to see if they try to change how they do it, especially with Parasite just ramshod all over everybody. And, people ticked off about the whole comment about, reading subtitles. Well, he's right. Take the time. Some of these films, like if like Pan's Labyrinth, for the love of God, that movie was amazing. Beautiful film. Beautiful. Yeah, that's Oscars on now. Janelle Monáe is Mrs. Rogers. So enjoy tonight. Watch the Oscars. Here's hoping it doesn't turn into a train wreck. It probably will. they'll probably do something stupid. They'll try to share the wealth instead of giving it to, trying to make a statement instead of giving it to the people that really deserve it, what's earned it. Here's hoping that doesn't happen. Let's hope. So guys, I will see you later. Enjoy the Oscars and go Hollywood. See you guys. Bye.